All right, welcome to The Explainer. So, you're starting a new life in Poland. That's amazing. But one of the biggest hurdles, right? Turning that empty apartment into a place that actually feels like home. Well, today, we're going to walk through a guide that makes that whole process feel simple and, believe it or not, pretty exciting. Okay, so you've done it. You've made the big move. You're standing in your new, empty place, and it's this huge, exciting opportunity. But let's be real. For a lot of expats, it can also be super overwhelming. You're trying to figure out new systems, there might be a language barrier, and just finding the right people to help. It's a lot. So, to cut through all that confusion, we've broken the entire journey down into 6 super clear steps. We're going to take you from your very first ideas all the way to holding the keys. The goal here is to turn what feels like this massive, complex project into a plan you can actually follow. And you know that feeling of being overwhelmed we just talked about? That's exactly what a professional design process is meant to fix. Think of it as your roadmap, especially when you're dealing with things like language barriers or construction standards that are different from what you're used to. It makes sure your vision for your home doesn't get, lost in translation. And the heart of that solution is this proven 6-step design path. This isn't about just winging it or guesswork. No, it's a clear, thought-out method to make sure your home ends up being functional, beautiful, and just completely you. Okay, so this roadmap right here, it basically gives you the whole process in a nutshell. We're about to dive into each of these steps, but you can already see how it all flows together, right? From that first chat all the way to the final supervision of the construction. All right, this first phase, this is where the fun really begins. And it's super personal. It's all about discovery, really. It's about taking your lifestyle, your tastes, all your ideas, and turning them into a visual plan that you can actually see and touch before a single hammer is lifted. So how does it start? It all kicks off with a really in-depth survey. And I mean everything. Your daily routines, what colors you love, what styles inspire you. And this isn't just some boring paperwork. It is the absolute foundation that makes sure the final design is built literally around your life. And this slide really drives that home. It shows just how involved you are from day one. Your input, the photos you've saved, the styles you're drawn to, all of that directly shapes the functional layout of your space. It's a real partnership, a collaborative foundation from the get-go. Okay, so once you've looked at the 2D layout of the walls and the furniture and given it the green light, that's when the magic really happens. That flat, black and white plan gets transformed into these incredibly realistic 3D visualizations. You can even do a virtual walkthrough to get a true feel for the space, the scale, the whole vibe. All right, so we're shifting gears a bit now, from the creative vision to the technical side of things. This part is all about creating the super important documents. The blueprint, really, that makes sure your vision gets communicated perfectly to the construction team, so it gets built exactly how you imagined it. And it's really important to get this. We're not just talking about a few quick sketches here. No way. You get a whole folder, sometimes like 30 pages thick, of detailed technical drawings. The best way to think about it is like an instruction manual for the builders. It covers every little thing, from where the light switches go to the designs for custom furniture. And then there's the shopping list. But honestly, list doesn't do it justice. It's more like your project's command center. It's this incredibly powerful tool that helps you manage ordering what could be hundreds of different items, track all the costs, and really nail down your budget before the renovation even starts. Huge. And last but not least, supervision. The designer doesn't just hand over the plans and disappear. They stay involved, visiting the site, answering questions from the contractors, and making sure those technical plans are being followed to the letter. For an expat, this is just incredible peace of mind. You know you have a professional who is your advocate right there on site. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks, the practical stuff. Because this process sounds great, but I know what you're thinking. You want to know 2 things, right? How much does it cost, and how long is it going to take? So the design fee itself is always tailored to your specific project. Things like its size and how complex it is. But to give you a ballpark, you can generally expect the cost to be somewhere in the range of 160 to 250 Polish zloty per square meter. And look, good design definitely takes time. A full apartment project, you're looking at 10 weeks minimum. A house can easily be 15 weeks or more. So what's the big takeaway here? The design part alone takes a couple of months, so you really want to book your designer at least a month before you're hoping to get started. Plan ahead. Now, to put that cost into perspective, let's look at the bigger picture. That design fee, It usually only makes up about 5% of your total budget for actually finishing and furnishing the place. Kind of surprising, right? And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It captures the real value perfectly. You see, the fee isn't just a line item cost, it's an investment. It's basically insurance against all those super expensive mistakes in buying the wrong thing or in construction that can completely derail your project and blow up your budget. Okay, before we finish up, let's tackle some of the most common questions and, worries that people have. The whole point here is to make sure you have total clarity and feel really confident about how this whole thing works. All right, the big one. This has to be the number one fear for so many people when they think about hiring a designer. What if, after all that time and money, I just don't like it? Well, the great news is the entire process is built from the ground up to stop that from ever happening. And here's why that risk is practically zero. You're never just handed a finished design at the very end with a ta-da moment. Nope. You approve every single stage as we go, the layout, the materials, the 3D models. Because you have control at every checkpoint, there are no surprises. The final result is just, well, it's the sum of all the little decisions you already said yes to. Okay, and what about this one? This is a huge one for expats. When you don't have that local network of contacts, how on earth do you find good, reliable builders and carpenters? How do you know who you can actually trust with your new home? Well, this is honestly one of the most valuable parts of the whole service. You get instant access to a hand-picked network of trusted, proven professionals. Your designer literally gives you the contact details for everyone you'll need, which saves you so much time, so much stress, and all the risk of trying to find these people on your own. So we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. When you really look at everything, the clear plan it gives you, the way it cuts down on risk, the professional network you get access to, is this professional design process just another expense? Or is it maybe the first and smartest investment you can make in building not just a house, but a real home in your new country?